Hello, YouTube divers. This is WaterDive 122, and I want to welcome you all to the third episode of the podcast for high school sports all across Western North Carolina. I know it's been a while since I've last touched on this series, but I thought we needed a little bit of a break from Magic Metal Mondays for a little bit. So the plan was originally that I was supposed to film the next episode of Magic Metal Mondays in the past 2 days, but I've been sick, so I decided to do this once I got better, because I revisited my podcast for high school sports all across Western North Carolina series, and so I figured, I haven't touched on this series in a while, so why don't I come back to it for now? So, without further ado, let's jump right into what this episode is all about. Today, we are going to be breaking down all the teams in Brevard's new conference. Now, this might be interchangeable, kind of, but as of right now, this is what we have. So, first off, you got the Hendersonville Bearcats, and yeah, I figured that Hendersonville would stay in our conference, and they are. Because as I said in one of my other episodes of the podcast for high school sports all across Western North Carolina, I basically said that Hendersonville was going to remain in our conference. And I thought that Hendersonville would be the first team that I would talk about. Now, Hendersonville is coming off an amazing season. They were the 1 seed in the 2A bracket. They made it all the way to the state semifinals, where they narrowly lost to Mountain Heritage in the state semifinals game at Dietz Field at Hendersonville High School. Man, what a game that must have been. However, on that journey, Hendersonville took down some amazing opponents. Like, in the first round, they blew Bunker Hill out of the friggin' water. They won 42-14 in that game. And then they upset 4 seed and perennial 2A power Shelby, who were coming off of a state 2AA championship the year before, I believe. So Hendersonville beat them 33-31. What an upset that was. And then, as I said, they lost by 1 point, 30-29, to the Mountain Heritage Cougars, the state 2A runner-ups. In overtime. Very close game. It was really good. So Hendersonville, they're going to be a stick in the mud for the Brevard Blue Devils for many years to come, but that's what makes this rivalry so good, in my opinion. So Hendersonville, here you come. Moving on, you got the R.S. Central Hilltoppers. Yep. Rutherford County is coming to play with us. Okay, so R.S. Central had a very interesting season last year. Now, I don't remember exactly what their record was, but they were absolutely amazing, except for the game against Shelby, where they got blown out of the friggin' water. But they beat an arch rival in the opener, East Rutherford, 47-0 on the road. Now, which is worse? Getting shut out 47-0 at home or blowing a 28-7 lead? East Rutherford fans, you let me know down in the comments below which is worse. But RS Central, they are definitely a team on the rise, and I can definitely see them being more competitive. So this is going to be fun. Right? Okay, moving on to the next team. Staying in Rutherford County, you got the East Rutherford Cavaliers. Once upon a time, they were one of the best teams in all the mountains. And as of last year, they completely downright was atrocious. And if you remember, on the first episode, I had them at number 3 as one of the biggest disappointments. Because even though they went 1-12 in 2019, or 1-11 or something like that. At least they were competitive. This season, they weren't competitive at all. They were getting blown out by every single team that they played. And I also mentioned this on the first episode of the podcast for high school sports all across Western North Carolina. Now, I don't think East Rutherford is going to be this bad for very long, because as I said, on paper, they're pretty darn good. But in reality, but the biggest question is how much longer are they going to be bad? You never know. So, as of right now, I'm saying that East Rutherford is the easiest team in the new conference, but I could be wrong. You never know with East Rutherford. Moving on to the next team on our list, you got the Polk County Wolverines. Yep, my second favorite team in the mountains, only behind Brevard. Yeah. So this is going to be very interesting going forward, because Polk County is another one of those teams that is freaking amazing. Polk County was coming off of arguably one of their best seasons ever, in my opinion. They were the 8th seed in the state 1AA bracket, and they made it all the way to the state semifinals. Yeah. Now, their path was ish. I don't know. But the first game, they got a forfeit win against the top seed North Stanley, I believe, because the Comets had a COVID issue, so they had to forfeit their game against Polk. So there's that. And then Polk went on the road against the 4th seed North Rowan, another set of Cavaliers, and they beat them 31-28. Now, unfortunately, their journey ended there with a 43-7, I think, something like that. A big loss against East Surrey, which, in of its own self, is not a bad loss. I mean, East Surrey, they're freaking amazing. So Polk County had a really good season, and they made it very far in the playoffs for an 8th seed. Polk County is one of those Cinderella teams, and they are definitely a great playoff team. Now, head-to-head against Brevard, these two teams are very, very, very similar. Although Brevard plays Polk County at home this year, so the Blue Devil faithful will hopefully cheer the Devils on to victory, but who knows. And like with East Rutherford, Polk County is one of those teams that is absolutely unpredictable. So with that said, Polk County is here. And now, finally, at this moment, the final team that we're going to be discussing here, you got the Robbinsville Black Knights. Perennial state championship contenders. They're probably the strongest team that Brevard is going to have to face off this coming season. But, like with Polk County, we get Robbinsville at home. I don't know how Robbinsville does against teams that play on turf fields, because, the entire Smoky Mountain 1A conference was just grass fields. Actually, no, I take that back, because Hayesville has a turf field, but whatever. Anyway, so Robbinsville, I don't really know. Robbinsville is one of those teams where you can give them a pass any freaking day, where you can play them any other day, and they'll come over and run the freaking house down on you. They have one of the best rushing games in the entire state. But thankfully, some of their best backs will be graduated, although I don't know what head coach D. Walsh is pulling out of his hat, but you never know with this Robbinsville offense. But, yeah, they're coming off of a state championship win a couple of years back. They had an intense rival with freaking Murphy, who's the defending state 1A champions as of this year. Yay. So yeah, Robbinsville is definitely the scariest team heading into the new conference. So, with that all being said, Robbinsville falls here. And then lastly, you got the Brevard Blue Devils, which, head to head. Who knows? Alright, now, before we leave, we are going to be ranking the teams based on the strength, based on how they did last season. Okay, so number 6, I believe. Yeah, 6. So, here we go. Number 6, East Rutherford. Now, number 5, RS Central. Although they did have a good season last year, so there you go. And then after that, at number 4, I'm gonna go with Hendersonville, just to be on the safe side. Number 3 is Polk County. Number 2 is Brevard, and number 1 is Robbinsville. Actually, no. I honestly could put Brevard like 2 spots down behind Hendersonville and Polk, but I don't really know, because Brevard. The only reason why I'm putting Brevard at number 2 is because they had a very strong start, and Joe Powell actually looked like he was a great QB, and he is. But rookie mistakes, it's gonna happen. But with all that being said and done, that is it. So thank you so much. So that concludes episode 3 of the podcast for high school sports all across Western North Carolina. So thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is Water 122 signing out, ready to dive into more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.